Welcome to the State of Wyoming Subject Matter Minute, where we cover a wide variety of subjects related to State of Wyoming employment. This information is for you and me, the state employee. From hidden benefits to systems and processes, we'll make your job easier by giving you the lowdown, the how-to, and hopefully entertain you a bit along the way. And now, today's Subject Matter Minute.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Subject Matter Minute. I'm Matt Nagy. Thanks for joining me. So right now we are possibly past the peak of the coronavirus pandemic in the U.S. Okay, that means that a ton of us at the state that are able are currently teleworking. Some like me were teleworking before COVID, but most of you are probably working under the emergency telework policy. Okay? This was put into place when COVID started. Those that were doing it before were doing it under a policy that was written clear back in 1999. Okay. So since we are unable to continue to work under an emergency policy forever, and since the 1999 policy was out of date, A&I and HRD decided it was time for a fresh new policy that reflects current work situations, the culture, and of course the budget realities of the state of Wyoming. Now, before I go any further, there's something I need to make very clear. If you're watching the video from the Telework website page, you've probably already noticed the big header at the top, okay? It's in large print. Well, if you're not watching it from there, to put it simply, telework approval is at the sole discretion of the agency head and is not subject to appeal or grievance. Telework is not an expressed or implied employee right or benefit, but a staffing and work arrangement at the sole discretion of management. This means that even if your position and your temperament are perfect for teleworking, it's still up to management. And if they simply do not like the concept of teleworking, you're out of luck. I mean, you can keep asking, but... All right, having said that, let's briefly talk about the policy and highlight the changes that are in it from the previous 1999 version. Okay. First of all, the new policy removes the 3-day limit on teleworking. So a qualified state employee can now work 5 days a week remotely. Of course, only if it works for the agency and the manager. Secondly, the need for an MOU or Memorandum of Understanding with the AG's office has been removed. Now we're going to do an agreement within the PMI system. Okay. The policy only used to be for permanent employees. Now it's also for probationary employees. That way, if you're bringing in somebody who's going to telework, they can do it right away. And finally, the old agreement expired every 2 years, while this one remains in effect indefinitely. Okay, so let's get into the process as it's laid out in the policy. Okay? But first, let me show you where you can find everything related to the policy. Go to the A&I website, click on For State Employees, and then on Telework Wyoming. Beneath our beautiful new Telework logo, you will find the approval process. These are the steps required to begin teleworking. Okay, so step 1 is inquiring. Either the employee inquires or the manager decides this would work better. Okay, so if you're interested in teleworking in any fashion, talk to your manager and don't forget the disclaimer. Step 2 is reviewing and understanding the actual policy. You can access the policy right here, and you can ask questions of your manager or your agency HR representative. Step 3 is on the manager. They, or you, if you're a manager, have to evaluate and decide. We've created a couple simple flowcharts to help the manager decide if both the position and the individual in the position are eligible for remote work. Of course, no matter what the flowcharts say, the decision on eligibility is still entirely up to management. The next step could be a denied request. While a manager doesn't have to explain the reasons for the denial, it would be best if a discussion occurs so the employee understands why the position or the employee doesn't meet the selection criteria. The next step could also be an approved request. If it's approved, then the manager contacts an HRD representative to sign up the employee for the required ETS training. At this point, there are 3 required courses. This is also a good time to explore the Telework toolkit that you can see here. There is additional training, best practices, and other resources available on that page. Step 6 is putting together the required documentation. There are several documents and certificates from the ETS training that will need to be uploaded by the supervisor into the PMI system. Once this happens, the supervisor notifies HRD and the employee is assigned a telework agreement. The telework agreement is in the PMI system. Okay? I'm not going to go through that process in this video, but we will create another video going through the steps involved. It'll be very similar to all the processes that you've experienced in the system before. Okay, once that's done, the employee begins working according to the telework agreement. Now, I mentioned previously that this agreement remains in effect indefinitely, and it does. But like everyone else, managers will review the performance of teleworkers during the regular PMI phases. This might be another good spot for a disclaimer. Okay, management can revoke the employee's telework agreement at any time for any reason or for no reason at all. I guess that means that if you are allowed to telework and you enjoy it while it lasts. All right, that's it, folks. Telework at the state of Wyoming has gone mainstream and more people that are able can do it. Talk to your manager if you're interested. Thanks for joining me on the Subject Matter Minute. I'll see you next time.
You have been watching the Subject Matter Minute with Matt Nagy. Please help us out by subscribing. And join us next month when we'll cover another topic of interest for all State of Wyoming employees. Again, thank you for joining us on the Subject Matter Minute.